Welcome to a Bears game day edition of Three's a Crowd. Alongside my co-host Eli Atwood, I'm Preston Vargas. And Eli, first NFL Sunday yesterday.
Yeah, it was a great one. Good start to the year.
Let's first get into the game that happened last night in Baltimore, rematch of the divisional round between the Ravens and Bills. A 15-point comeback for for Buffalo against Baltimore. What'd you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, pretty great comeback. I mean, this game was one of the ones I watched, probably the only game yesterday I watched through, and it was just a great game as the Bills were able to come back and pull it off there. I really didn't think they had it.
Down 15 in the fourth quarter, I went to bed early. I thought Baltimore had it in the bag, but then I see the score this morning, 41-40 Buffalo. I mean, they led an amazing comeback. Um, 15 points in the final 4 minutes of the game. Was that right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, just incredible.
Or
I
maybe
got
16 points actually.
They're down 15 points.
They were down
Looks
15.
up
They
here
scored 16.
at 11:42 to go in the quarter. Then Josh Allen gets them back within a possession with 3:56, then another touchdown after the 2-minute warning, and then they kick the game-winning field goal at the end. But going into this, was this more of a Bills comeback or a Ravens collapse in your opinion?
For me, I think this is a Ravens collapse. I mean, they had the game, they were controlling the game until the last few minutes when it just felt like they couldn't do anything against this team on offense or defense.
Exactly. They were dominant throughout the game last night until they kept punting it away, and so was Buffalo. But then a fumble, two plays into the drive after the before the touchdown that brought it back a little bit, but they fumbled the ball with 3:10 to go.
Yeah, that was pretty crucial.
Then Buffalo went down to score in 4 plays. I mean, if the Ravens keep that ball, they win the game, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, I mean, probably because the only other thing I think could happen is if Buffalo was able to get that 2-point conversion, which they didn't get. So I agree. If
Yeah,
they keep
right,
that ball, they
right.
win then.
And then the Ravens drive to hold on to the ball. You got a 4th and 3 at their own 38. Should they have gone for it there to try to ice the game, or do you think that was the right decision to punt it away to Josh Allen?
I was questioning the move at the time, but I thought it over some more. I do think it was the right move to go ahead and punt it just because of the position they would have given up if they didn't get that. If it was 4th and 1, I say maybe go for it, but you can't give them straight field goal position where they can win the game if you don't.
I mean, the Bills, I assume they had all three of their timeouts at that point when the drive started.
Yeah, but by the time that drive was ending, they did not have their timeouts.
Yeah. And then they just took 9 plays for Buffalo to get into field goal range to complete the comeback. That wasn't the only game on this weekend. How about the Steeler or we'll talk about that game later. Let's go with the Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers. Micah Parsons making his debut for the Packers, and his impact was felt early. What'd you think of his performance in the game?
Yeah, I mean, he played well while he was on the field,
Yeah.
but this is the question that we're having with this trade is he going to be healthy? Is he going to play snaps? I think he played less than half the snaps this week, so that's something to look to as the season goes on. Is this just adjusting to the system or is this an injury concern?
And he played around half the snaps, and his impact was felt immediately, getting quarterback pressures, causing turnovers, and even completing the day with a sack, even though it was later in the game. He still got at least a sack in there.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad performance, just something to be aware of still.
And then Jordan Love, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 188 yards. This is a pretty big day for him in the passing game. Jaden Reed got a touchdown, and also Tucker Kraft got the first touchdown of the game. What does this a win signify for the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, I think it's a good one for the Packers, and I think it's definitely their claim for the North here. We'll see if the Bears or the Vikings have anything to show for it, but definitely doesn't seem like it's going to be the Lions here this year without their coordinators.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad we're playing the Packers later in the season, and we got Detroit next week. But let's speak on Detroit for a second. They lost both their corners in the offseason, and it showed in that game. I mean, how big of a deal is that? How can they recover from that?
Well, I mean, as with anything where you're losing players, you need somebody, not players, but coaches. You're going to need somebody to step up, whether that's somebody on the team making a leadership effort or if your coordinators are able to figure it out after a few weeks.
We saw from Aaron Glenn and the Jets how, even though they lost, how it was impactful to them. We'll get into that game a little later on in the show, but I think that it's still early in the season, and I think the Lions have a good roster. We'll see how far it goes for them, but there's still time to get right. And this is just, it's only week one. I think they'll be okay toward the stretch run of the season. But
Yeah, for sure.
as we move on to the AFC, in the 1 o'clock window, we had a big game. The Pittsburgh Steelers and New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers returning to his old team for the first week of the season. And he had a pretty good game. 244 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He said after the game that he wanted to show the Jets that he could still beat them. What do you think of that performance?
Yeah, I mean, it's good performance, coming back. It's sort of like an old NFC North rivalry here. Fields and
Yes.
Rodgers, both on somewhat random teams now going against each other. And bit of a show it game for Aaron Rodgers, showing wasn't the problem last year in New York.
I was watching that game. I really wanted Justin Fields to knock off Aaron Rodgers. So close. But the
Yeah,
fumble on the kickoff return, that 60-yard field goal for Chris Boswell. Man, they should have won that game.
yeah. I mean, that's the problem I feel like we've seen with Fields throughout his career is he able to finish out games? But I wouldn't really blame this one on him.
No, not on him at all. He had 218 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and he looked good running the football as well.
Yeah, he definitely looked better when it comes to staying in the pocket and making the reads.
He had 2 rushing touchdowns in the game, and we saw that in Chicago. He's not a bad quarterback, in my opinion.
No, he's not bad. It's just a matter of if he's going to be able to improve his consistency and his decision making, I think.
Yeah,
And if he continues playing like he did in this game, I think that'll show.
but he took care of the football. Like I said, no turnovers. Brees Hall had a great day on the ground, 107 rushing yards. Big day for him. But looking at the Jets season, I think they could possibly contend for a wild card spot this year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe even have a run at the division. You never know.
And for the Steelers, they were down early, but then managed to come back. A lot of that, I think, is due to Mike Tomlin. But if Aaron Rodgers performs how he did week one, how do you think he can do with this team?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got the right pieces around him to succeed as long as he continues to play well. I don't see him regress at all.
And DK Metcalf, 4 receptions, 83 yards. Calvin Austin seemed to find him a lot. He had a touchdown reception in that game. That Jalen Warren, 11 rushing attempts, 37 yards. He had a mediocre day, but was still impactful. Got a touchdown reception. I think the Steelers offense can be good. The defense looked good as well with TJ Watt, even
Yeah,
though
of course,
allowed
that's
32
never a
points.
question with the Steelers.
But I think the turning point in that game was that fumble after after the it was after the Steelers scored a touchdown, and then on the kickoff, the Jets muffed the kick return, and the Steelers recovered, scored another one in quick succession. Okay, so let's go to a game that I originally didn't have on the rundown, but I thought was interesting. The Buccaneers and Falcons, man, missed kicks all over the place in that game. Chase McLaughlin missed an extra point. Then Younghoe Koo missed the game-winning field goal. What's this going to do for the NFC South?
Yeah, it's pretty brutal, but I think it proves that the other teams of the South are going to be able to compete with the Buccaneers, at least the Falcons, if nobody else. Maybe it's not quite as easy as it has been the past few years for them to win it out.
I mean, Chase McLaughlin was everybody's best kicker in fantasy. Miss a extra point like that, and I think he missed a field goal earlier in the game. In the previous clutch, Younghoe Koo hitting that potential overtime sending field goal wide right. Chet needed the Bucks to win that for Pick'em. That's another story. But another story in this game, Michael Penix Jr. How about him in that game? 298 yards passing and even ran for 21 yards, including a touchdown. And the way he extends himself to get the first down, I thought was very impressive by him.
Yeah, it sounds like you played pretty well there in that game. To be honest, I wasn't able to watch this game, so I don't know too much, but that's all I can say there.
I mean, he even though they lost, I think that they're in a good place with Michael Penix Jr. going into the future. Bijan Robinson had a bunch of good runs. They got a Marshawn Lynch type of player in him. Kyle Pitts finally showed up. I think this offense is working well under Raheem Morris and that coaching staff.
Yeah, that's good. They needed it.
But for the Bucks, Baker Mayfield had another good game. One player that was kept quiet, or not really kept quiet, Mike Evans, overshadowed by Mecca Ibuka. He had 67 yards, receiving 2 touchdowns. He's looking like he could be the successor to Mike Evans as the Bucks number one.
Yeah, I think that's a good sign for the Bucks there. Have somebody young who can take over from their somewhat aging receiver core.
And then Mike Evans still had 51 receiving yards. Still not bad, but not what we're used to seeing from him.
Yeah.
But let's get into the segment that we've been waiting for. The big game tonight. Ben Johnson's debut on the sidelines of the Chicago Bears against the Minnesota Vikings and JJ McCarthy's NFL debut. Eli, what are you expecting from this game?
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a good game. We've got two young quarterbacks coming in into their second years here. I mean, sort of a first year for McCarthy in a way, but new coaching staff for the Bears versus an established staff there in Minnesota. We'll see how much of a difference that makes here.
I mean, what I'm looking for to start the game is that pass rush for the Bears getting on JJ McCarthy early. I think if you do that, take away the receiving targets, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison is suspended, but they still have Jones, Aaron Jones Sr. there. I think if you take those away, sack the quarterback early, I think you can
Yeah, I
save the
definitely
ball.
think we'll be seeing a lot of blitzing here.
Then for the Bears, I like what Caleb Williams has done in the preseason. He's gotten the ball out quicker. I think that if he keeps his composure in the game and doesn't take many sacks, I could easily see the Bears winning this one.
Yeah, the only thing that concerns me is, Williams, he had a good preseason, but most of those good snaps were coming against second team. When he was playing against the
Yeah.
first team, it didn't look so strong. So hopefully it's a fluke and he'll be able to keep strong here.
And he played pretty well last year against the Minnesota Vikings in November when they came here. When they came to Chicago, they got the onside kick, sent it to overtime. They had a chance to win it, even though they lost it. But I think Williams could have a good game, pretty good season throughout.
Yeah, for sure.
Then finally, let's get a game prediction of this one. What's the score going to be?
Taking the Bears, 97. Vikings, -2.
It's not going to be that close.
That's just the halftime score, my friend.
I'm going Bears 201, Vikings -7.
We'll see who gets this one right.
And then let me get a prop bet for the Bears. DeAndre Swift and DJ Moore scoring a touchdown in this game.
Yeah, I definitely think we'll see some action for Swift. For Moore, it is a bit of a crowded receiver room, but I think he'll make his way there as well, playing some running back maybe this week. I think he'll have a large role in this offense.
I'm also excited to see how the rookies do. Colston Loveland and Luther Burden against this defense.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see how much playing time they each get. Hopefully, they'll make an impact here.
Well, that's going to do it for us today. Good luck on the Bears tonight. Bear down, Chicago Bears. We're going to win this one.
And bear down.
See you on Friday.